The interior Northeast and portions of the Midwest will likely get impacted by a significant winter storm approaching this weekend, where some areas could reach over 6 inches of snow associated with this snowstorm. If we were to take a look at the latest depiction of the European model, we do see that as a result of the atmospheric river going on, we have several storm systems moving through the United States, including this low pressure system. And if I were to continue to move forward into the midday on Wednesday, we do see that we do have a pretty large area of snow showers moving through Colorado and Wyoming at this time. However, the storm will continue to intensify as this moves further eastward, because behind this low pressure system there's a high level of cold air just behind it, interacting with this very warm air mass located right around the Gulf Coast states. So as a result, there's a highly unstable environment for enough convection to occur for a significant snowstorm to develop. We do see some snow showers right around Kansas by the Thursday timeframe, and if I were to continue to move forward, this storm continues to rapidly intensify, where we see the area of rain much larger than it was just 24 hours earlier. And while we don't necessarily see snow just yet, there is going to be just enough cold air located in the extreme northern portions of the Northeast for heavy snowfall to occur, especially in the interior Northeast and in the higher elevations of the Northeast, and portions of the Midwest as well could get involved with some snowfall. So this right around the evening time on Thursday and moving forward, we do see that the snow begins for New Hampshire, Vermont, and the extreme northern portions of upstate New York, where by the early Friday timeframe, you guys will begin to experience very heavy snowfall. However, for most of the Northeast, you see that this low pressure system is primarily a rain event, as the cold air is mainly exclusive to the portions of the interior Northeast. So as a result, it should primarily impact those located well further northward, as the areas closer to the coast or further southward in the Northeast. This will primarily be a rain event, as it seems like there's too much of a strong southerly flow on the eastern side of this low pressure system to really bring those to really maintain those cold temperatures all throughout the Northeast for precipitation to fall in the form of snowfall, as it's been a persistent pattern over the past several weeks. We just have been seeing a very strong ridge located in eastern Canada that's pretty much steering a lot of these low pressure systems well to the north, bringing a strong southerly flow for the temperatures to be way too warm for much snowfall to occur in the Northeast, as this persistent ridge has been preventing the Northeast from many impactful snowstorms, as most of the snow has been relegated more so towards the northern Midwest and the interior Northeast for this winter thus far. And if I were to continue to move forward, we see that the area of snow definitely does increase. We begin to see snow in Detroit and Cleveland, so you need to watch out for that possibility of significant snowstorm in those cities as well, because on the backside, the temperatures will likely be cold enough for a heavy snowfall threat to occur in some of those major cities and even in the metropolitan areas. And we do see that the backside of this storm could bring snow as far south as the Appalachian mountain ranges of Virginia, West Virginia, and even Kentucky and North Carolina. Higher elevations of North Carolina could get involved a little bit with some snow. However, for much of the Northeast, is primarily a heavy rain threat. You could experience 1 to 2 inches of rain. So if you do live in a flood prone area, you might need to watch out. I don't expect this to be a significant flood threat, but it's at least something to be aware of. And of course, driving in the rain in heavy rainfall is of course more hazardous on the road, so you want to pay attention to this as we approach a Friday time frame. And moving forward, we do see that the snow becomes very heavy at times in the northern portion of Maine, where I wouldn't be surprised if we see snowfall rates that are close to 2 inches per hour, which will create just very dangerous road conditions. And then moving forward by, I'd say, the very late Friday into early Saturday time frame, the low pressure system should mostly move out, as worse of the storm should move out, but we still will see snow on the backside of this low pressure system as we approach the Saturday time frame, moving as far east as Pennsylvania as well. So you want to pay very close attention to that. And in terms of this producing lake effect snow, it seems like the lake effect snow threat associated with this low pressure system will be limited, mainly because the winds associated with this low pressure system will primarily come from northeast rather than northwest. So there won't be a long duration where the wind is going to blow over the lake and create a very powerful lake effect snow band. So the lake effect snow threat will be limited, but there of course will be some isolated areas that will receive enhanced snowfall as a result of the lakes creating maybe stronger snow bands as we move into the Saturday time frame. But we do see that behind the low pressure system, there's very cold air, so temperatures will fall below average for the weekend. So make sure to pay close attention to that. Now, I know in my past video we were talking about the possibility of a second low pressure system developing just off the East Coast and potentially bringing snow to the more coastal areas of the East Coast. However, it seems like both of the main computer models, the European and GFS models, have been leaning away from that forecast as of the recent runs. As it seems like both of the computer models don't expect enough cold air to move as far south to create a negative tilt with the jet stream to potentially create develop a low pressure system that's close enough to the coast to bring some snow. We do see that eventually the European model does want to develop a small low pressure system, but by that point, the low pressure system is way too far to the east to bring any sort of precipitation. So as a result, we don't see any snowstorm associated with this second low pressure system. We need to see this low pressure system develop a little bit earlier and this jet stream dip to be a little bit more significant to create a negative tilt to really say with confidence that this low pressure system will develop uncomfortably close to the coast to bring some snowfall. But at this point, it seems like the computer models have been trending away from that forecast, and I expect most likely that trend to continue as the forecast certainly is becoming more certain now that we're getting relatively close. But we still need to pay close attention to this second low pressure system, because you never know. But I'd say most likely this low pressure system will stay far enough to the east not to bring any snowfall, at least to the coastal areas of the northeast. So that's only good news if you're not necessarily into snow right along the east coast, as it seems like this low pressure system will stay just far enough to the east to not bring any major snow right up along the coast. Take a look at what the European model is forecasting when it comes to snowfall in the northeast. We do see that the areas that receive the heaviest snowfall are far to the north, where we do see that the northern portion of Maine experiences 6 to 12 inches of snow, and a lot of the northern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, as well as upstate New York do experience 3 to 6 inches of snow, and we do see a relatively large area of 1 to 3 inches of snow throughout the central and western portion of Pennsylvania, and the same goes for upstate New York, as well as the backside should bring at least some snow showers to you guys. So you want to watch out, especially right around the early Saturday time frame, that there could be some isolated snow showers that could bring heavier bouts of snow for your Saturday morning commute. And we do see that right up along the Erie, Pennsylvania area, and even Cleveland, you guys could experience a more significant snowfall threat, as right now the forecast for Cleveland, based on what the European model is stating, is right around 3 to 6 inches of snow. So this could be one of the more significant snowstorms. So you guys, you need to pay very close attention to that. And Erie, Pennsylvania could potentially experience over 6 inches of snow if the European model scenario was correct. And considering the fact that the European model has been the more reliable model this winter thus far, it might be a little bit better to trust the European model more than the GFS model or any other computer model for that matter. But we can't completely disregard the GFS model either. But I'd say the forecast that will likely be the more accurate one for this snowstorm is the European model. But we also need to pay close attention to the GFS model as well. And take a look further westward into Detroit, you could maybe experience around an inch of snow, and then of course heavier snowfall in the higher elevations of the Appalachian mountain ranges. Take a look at what the GFS model is forecasting. It's pretty much very similar to what the European model has been stating. So the forecast confidence with this low pressure system is very high. The GFS model expects heavy snowfall throughout Detroit and Cleveland, just like the European model, and expects mainly most of the snow to be in the extreme northern portions of the Northeast. However, we could see that snow move a little bit further southward into Massachusetts with the GFS model as a result of a weaker Clipper system that's expected to move just ahead of this low pressure system. But for the most part, the GFS model is very similar to what the European model is stating, and we do see that again the second low pressure system is too far off the coast to bring any sort of snowfall or any sort of precipitation right up along the east coast. Taking a look at what the GFS model is stating when it comes to snowfall, relatively similar forecasts to the European model, but we do see some key differences, such as Detroit experiences a little bit more snowfall and what the European model is forecasting, where the GFS model is forecasting Detroit to receive more around 3 to 6 inches rather than maybe 1 to 3 inches. European model is forecasting, and we also do see a little bit more snow right around Cleveland as well, but for the most part, very similar forecasts to what the European model is stating, so the forecast confidence is very high with this snowstorm. Here's my forecast when it comes to this next potentially major northeast winter storm. So in the northern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, you need to pay very close attention to this. This will likely become a major snowstorm for you guys, where you could experience up to a foot of snow in some localized areas. So by the late Friday into early Saturday time frame, you need to pay very close attention to this. Stay off the roads because it could be the road conditions could be life-threatening at times, and we do see 3 to 6 inches of snow in the right around the Adirondack, so make sure to keep that in mind, especially if you live in the higher elevations. And then Cleveland, you could experience right around 3 to 6 inches of snow, as well as Detroit. You want to pay very close attention to that, as the Friday time frame should be the worst of the snow for you guys. So make sure to pay close attention to that. As a backside, the snow pressure system should bring some extra snowfall to much of the eastern portions of the Midwest. So make sure to take the necessary precautions this weekend. But I thank you guys for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content.